Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Myself Kuhusharkar, and in this video I'm going to discuss about Michel Foucault. Here I'm going to talk about his important concepts and his major works. So let's start with Michel Foucault. He was born in 1926 and died in 1984. He was a French philosopher, historian of ideas and social theorist and literary critic. His work has profoundly influenced a wide range of academic fields and intellectual practices, including sociology, literary theory, and cultural studies. He was a French 20th century philosopher and historian. So please note down the word historian because he talked about many things about history. He aimed to revisit and critique theory, and he is known for genealogical method. So he influenced Edward Said especially regarding his Palestine issues. And his turning point was in 1953 after reading Nietzsche, and he believed that history is not apolitical. So let's see his important concept. His first important concept is power and knowledge. Foucault argued that power and knowledge are not separated but inextricably linked. So Foucault argued that power and knowledge are not separated but it is inextricably linked. He introduced the term power and knowledge to describe how knowledge systems are used to control and regulate societies. According to Foucault, those in power use knowledge to define norms, standards, and thus maintaining their control. So he said those people who are in power, they use their knowledge to define norms. What is norm for us, for the ordinary people? The standards and maintaining society. In ancient time also you see that the Brahmins who have the knowledge because they read the Ved and other holy books, so they decided that what is norm for the society, and that's how they may try to maintain the society, right? So power is pervasive and exists in all relationships. So Foucault also said that power is pervasive and exists in all relationships. Knowledge is not just a power but also a power of social control. So he also used the concept panoptic and panoptic surveillance. I will talk about this later. Foucault says that power is ubiquitous and exists in capillary form and spread throughout society. So Foucault also said that power is ubiquitous, means it exists or it presents in every relationships, and it exists in capillary form, spread throughout societies. Power is not just a repressive force but a productive one that gives pleasure and knowledge. Power creates reality and knowledge. Even those who seem powerless are subjected to power which can be indirect. So Foucault said that if you think that I am powerless, I am poor, Foucault said no, you also have the power. Mean, in a classroom, if we think that the teacher only have the power because he is the most knowledgeable person, he is superior and the students are inferior, Foucault says no, the students are also have the power to control the classroom. If the students do not give attention to the teacher lecture, so that whole lecture will be ruined, right? So that's how the students also have the power to control the classroom. If the rich people have the power, the poor people also have the power. If the political leader have the power, the voters are also have the power to reject the political leader. So Foucault says, maybe indirectly, but Foucault says those who seem powerless are also have the power. Power defines and is embedded in our knowledge system, politics, and culture. Cultural studies focus on the analysis of power and knowledge. Power and knowledge are interlinked, as I said, and focus on how knowledge is produced through discourse. So another concept is discourse. I will talk about this later. And he emphasized that power and knowledge are interlinked, emphasize on the link between power and knowledge. So let's see his another important concept, which is discipline and punish. In his book Discipline Punish the Birth of Prison, Foucault explored the history of modern penal system. So he explored the whole history of modern penal system and how it reflects broader social transformations. He argued that modern societies use disciplinary techniques to regulate individuals, moving from sovereign power, and the sovereign power examples are like public executions to disciplinary powers, which are prisons, schools, and hospitals, which subtly enforce conformity. So Foucault said that we, the modern people, we, the civilized people, we said that the ancient kings, the ancient authority, the sovereign power, they are so brutal, so cruel, because they give public executions, they murdered the prisoners in front of public, they killed them in front of public, so their punishment are more brutal. But Foucault says no, the modern civilized punishments are also brutal and cruel, because it only transforms from sovereign power to disciplinary power. Now we try to control over the mind of the prisoner. Now we want to control the mind of the ordinary people by these things like the prisons, the schools, the disciplinary power who execute the modern thought, who execute the control, which is the prisons, schools, and in hospitals. In schools, the students have to wear the single uniform, right? The all students have to wear the uniform. They cannot go what they want, they cannot wear what they want. So in prisons also they have to obey the decision of the government. They don't, we say that we are the modern civilized person people, and we gave a chance to the prisoners to for their moral development. But Foucault says this is wrong. This is also a punishment which is still brutal and cruel. We now try to control over the mind. In our family there is a little boy and he scored poor. He's an intelligent boy and he like to read stories, like to listen stories, like to do sports, and he is a intelligent boy. But he scored poor because he don't want to read his school books. So he scored poor and he said he cried that I have to wear now pink dress. And when I asked why, he said that in our school, if the students scored poor, they have to wear pink dress on a single day, maybe on in a occasion or in a week, in a once in a week. And they have to wear pink, and the students who scored good, they can wear blue. So I want to wear blue, I don't want to wear pink. So I said how it can happen, right? Mean the school try to control over the mind of the student, that if you score poor you have to wear pink, and if the students who the students who score good, they can wear blue. So that's how they try to control over the students mind. Now this punishment change, they try to control ourselves. They try to control the mind of the ordinary people. Big brother is watching you, right? So discuss how punishment has evolved from public spectacles to disciplinary systems. So it only changes, it only transforms, but the punishment is still the same. Before they murdered or they kill them publicly, but now they try to control over the mind. Analysis of how disciplinary mechanism create decoy bodies. Now the government want the decoy bodies, only the machines who will obey their decisions. In George Orwell's 1984, you can see that how the government try to control over the mind. You can't say anything what you want, you can't think what you want, right? So government try to control our body, they only try the machine body, the decoy body, over which they can rule. So The next concept is the panopticon. Foucault discussed the concept of panopticon, a theoretical design for a prison conceived by Jeremy Bentham. In a panopticon, a single guard can observe all prisoners without them knowing whether they are being watched. So, in panopticon, you see that the prisons are in circle, and there is a single tower, and over which, on the top of the single tower, one guard is watching you. One guard's watching every prison's doors. Every prison's door can be watched or observed by the single guard. So Foucault used this as a metaphor for modern disciplinary society, where surveillance is a means of control. So in modern society, you can see that it transforms. So now also, in everywhere you go, if you go in a shopping mall, if you go in a school, if you go in a hospital, anywhere you go, you are under CCTV surveillance. So big brother is watching you, the government is watching you. In your Aadhaar card, you are watched. In everywhere you go, in from your mobile, they can chase your location, right? So anywhere, any place you go, you are being watched, you are under surveillance of these disciplinary societies. So Foucault says that it only changed. So he used this metaphor of panopticon, and said that government always try to control the ordinary people. They use the CCTVs in road, in schools, in hospital. In a film which is Hami, in Bengali film, there one single incident is shown, which is that a little boy give a kiss, a innocent kiss to his friend, which is a girl baby, which is a little girl. And these single issues became so big in this film. They said that you can this little boy is molesting the little girl, but it is only a little expression of love. Anybody can love anyone. It should not always can be vulgar, right? So in this film, this is said that in our school, there are everywhere is CCTV. So your single action is always watched. So Foucault also said that every single thing is watched. You cannot do anything without the surveillance. So your every single action is being watched. This is the panopticon. Then the next concept is biopower or biopolitics or biopower. Foucault introduced the concept of biopolitics and biopower in his later work. Biopolitics refers to the governance of population through array of regulations and interventions. Biopower is the practice of modern state to regulate their subjects through numerous and diverse techniques for achieving subjugations of bodies and control of population. So you know that government said that government try to control the population, and they said that you can only have two babies, right? In China, they said that you can only have one babies. So they everybody want male babies, and they kill the girl babies. So many things happens. So here you can see that government try to control our population, and that's how they try to control our body. They, when they take Aadhaar card, when they take the photo, they take our eyes picture, they take our fingertip, everything they took. So our body is also under the under control, under the government control. So by forcing us to do these things, government try to control over our body. by these population control, the government also try to control our bodies, our biopower. This is called biopolitics or biopower by Foucault. Archaeology of knowledge. The in archaeology of knowledge, this is also a book. So, in archaeology of knowledge, Foucault proposed a method for studying history of ideas and discourses. Instead of looking for a continuity in the history of ideas, Foucault focused on discontinuities and ruptures. He analyzed how various discourses, ways of speaking and thinking emerged and how they structured knowledge and social practices. So Foucault said that if you think that the knowledge, the history is a linear thing, you are doing wrong. Because the historians who write the history, they write it in their way. It is not a linear story, but it is fragmented. The historian, they write their opinion. If they are under the king's rule, they have to write that the king is great, the action of king is marvelous, right? So the history is not linear. And Foucault proposed a method for studying the history and ideas and discourse. Instead of looking for continuity in the history of ideas, Foucault focused on discontinuities or rupture. You have to admit that these stories are not linear. They changed it, they mold it in their way, in their to control the society. They write the stories in their way, right? Like if we think about the freedom fighters, for us they are freedom fighter, they did good for us. But for the English people, they are only the conspirators, right? They are only the conspirators. So they write about it in their way. Their historian will write about it in their way, and our historians will write about it in our way. So history is not linear, but we have to admit the discontinuities and ruptures. So he analyzed how various discourses, ways of speaking and thinking emerged and how they structured knowledge and social practices. So how they structured the knowledge system. Because we have to read history. We said that Akbarism is a great king, but is it? He he killed so many things, so many people. He want to control, he want to spread his kingdom, right? But there are a little chapter in our history book about the Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, who spread love to everyone, right? So where we go, we praising Akbar and other kings like that, who try to control, who kill so many people to achieve the land, to achieve the kingdom, to spread their kingdom. They did so much brutal, but there is a big chapter about them, the how they control, how they do battle, how they own the battle. But there is a little chapter about this person, these monks, these saints who spread love, who try to bring peace in our society. So the person who are in power, they also try to inbuild that we have to do these same brutal things. They don't want to inbuild us that we can go to spirituality, we can go for peace, we can go for love in human. They try to inbuild us that we have to fight. If there is anything happen, we have to fight. They also inbuild the brutality, cruelty in between us, right? So history is not the continue thing, or the thing which we think that the historians write. They write as their opinion. We have to delve into the history and see that what is right and what is wrong. As per Foucault, genealogy. Foucault's genealogical method particularly particularly evident in Discipline and Punish. The history of sexuality examines the historical development of power relations. This method looks at the contingent non-linear progression of historical events and how they shape present day phenomena. So the non-linear progression of historical events and how they shape present day phenomena. A method of historical analysis focusing on the descent and emergence of ideas looks at the contingencies and discontinuities of in history. Okay, the same thing. Episteme. So his another concept is episteme. What is episteme? Episteme is a frameworks of knowledge that define what is possible to know in a given era. So it is a framework of knowledge that define what is possible to know in a given era. It is called episteme. This concept is given by Foucault, and it is important also. You can write it. Every concept is important here. So episteme change over time, shaping how knowledge is perceived and categorized. Okay. Then ars erotica and scientica sexualis also given by Foucault. Ars erotica and scientica sexualis are two different approaches to sexualities that were given by Michel Foucault in his work History of Sexuality. What is ars erotica and scientia sexualis? Ars erotica mean focuses on sex as human experience, something we enjoy, desire and do. It's also known as ars of erotic and is non-Western in origin. As ars erotica draws truth from pleasure itself and evaluates pleasure to shape sexual practice and is guided by a master. So, okay, so Foucault says that in ancient time we do sex for our pleasure, but now we do sex for to give birth only. So science now evolved so much. Now sex is only to reproduce baby, right? So this is the ars erotica is the non-Western origin, and the Western ideas are that you have to do sex only to give birth, only to reproduce children. So he focused that on sex and human experience and something we enjoy, desire and do. It's also known as the ars of erotica, and it is a non-Western origin. Ars erotica draws truth from pleasure itself, evaluates pleasure to shape sexual pleasure and is guided by a master. But science sexualism mean that focuses on inhuman aspect of sex. That inhuman aspect, when we only do sex to reproduce baby, to which will take our generation, right? It is more like animal thing, that animal reproduce baby to so that they can stay in the world. So like that, scientia sexualis also we do, it is an inhuman thing, we do sex to reproduce baby, focuses on inhuman aspect of sex or as a form of reproduction, and we engage in similarity to animals, we are like animals. It's also known as the science of sexuality, and it is a Western in origin. So it is a Western in origin. Freud's scientific approach is an example of scientia sexualis. Comparison between two aspects, the same thing. Now the concept discourse. So here is a typo, maybe the biopolitics and biopower I already said. Okay, discourse. Now say about discourse. Sexuality, psychiatry and gender are discourses. Discourse defines what can be thought and said. So discourse defines that what can be thought and said. Discourses can become institutionalized and shape perceptions and behaviors. Examples: nationalism as a discourse and defines thought and actions related to national identity. If you oppose the discourse of nationalism, you might be labeled as anti-nationalist. Discourse are oppressive and tend to suppress alternative views. It is crucial to continually question and challenge the dominant discourse. So he said that if you disobey and if you oppose the discourse of nationalism, you will be labeled as anti-nationalism. So you have to agree with the dominant discourse. In if you want to watch a film in cinema hall, you go and you are sitting there, and there are the national anthem is going on, and if you sit there like that, people will watch you. Why he's sitting there here? He don't have the respect to the our national flag, to our national anthem, our national song. So you have to stand up, you have to obey the dominant discourse, you have to be if you do not stand up, you will be labeled as anti-nationalism. So Foucault says that you have to obey the dominant discourse and what is thought and what to be said. I like his idea very much. So now see his major works. First is Madness and Civilization. So he said that in previous, if a person saying something exceptional, like Socrates, what he did? He write anything? No, he just sit on the public place and he question to the public that what is the world, what is the truth, what is that and that. And he is because he is more knowledgeable and philosopher, he is a great philosopher, and people will give him the position that he is a great person. But now the person who does not go with the normality which is given by the society, if he did something exceptional, we said that he is mad, right? If some years ago, if a person who is a gay, who is a bisexual, who is a lesbian, he or she said that I want to go with the same sex, they are labeled as mad. Something disability is in him or in her, right? So Foucault says that madness and civilization, in ancient time, they are given a position of great person or great man, but now we label them as mad person. So examines the historical treatment of madness, and the shift from viewing madness as a part of human existence to treating it as illness and confined. So it now seemed as a illness, and it can be cured. Renaissance view, people who are different were seen as wise, not labeled as mad. So in Renaissance view, the people who think differently, they are wise, not mad. But now we civilized person, the modern person, they label them as mad. They try to counseling the person, they try to cure the person. So Foucault, in his book Madness and Civilization, which is published in 1961. The Birth of Clinic, 1963, the investigates the history of medical profession and transforms the medical knowledge concept of medical gaze. So he also talk about the medical gaze. Doctors have a dehumanizing attitude, treating patients as body malfunctions. So, if you go to a hospital, doctor treat your body only like a body. They treat your body this human, like this human. They're treating the patient as body malfunction. The body have to cure. The body has this malfunction, and I have to cure it. So for the doctor, you are only the body. You are not a human being. So this is called medical gaze. When someone is pregnant and the body and the doctor is doing the operation, so for the doctor, it is only a body which which is going to give a produce a baby. So for the doctor it is only a machine, it is he just dishuman, he try to dishuman the body, that it is a malfunction body and I have to cure it. So this is called medical case. But now the things changed. But when Foucault did this thing, um, this is like that. So Foucault said that the birth of clinic, how the body is seen as a malfunction body, and how the body is treated like dishuman. Okay, the other order of things and archaeology of human science is a book by French philosopher Michel Foucault. It proposed that every historical period was underlined epistemic assumptions, as I said, that is epistemic assumption, ways of thinking which determine what is truth and what is acceptable discourse and about a subject, and what is a dominant discourse, by delineating the origin of biology, economics, and linguistics, examines human sciences and how knowledge is structured and categorized. So this book is published in 1966, The Order of Things and Archaeology of Human Sciences. Then the Archaeology of Knowledge, which was published in 1969. History is not linear, as I told you. Traditional historians often cover up gaps to make it appear so. So traditional historians, they make up the gap, they cover up the gap to give their opinion, to give it a linear position, but it is not linear. Emphasize and discovering the struggles of the past rather than filling gaps with fiction. So the traditional historians, they wrote the fiction to cover up the gap. But Foucault says no, history cannot be linear. It cannot be continue. It is discontinuities. It is a form of discontinuity and fragmented. Then his another book, What is an Author, investigates the function of role and author in discourse. As you know that Roland Barthes said the death of the author, and some people also think that it is a counter attack of Roland Barthes' book, and he said that what is the author? What is an author? Then Discipline and Punish, which was published in 1975, and in What is an Author, he also rejecting or investigates the function of role of the author in discourse. Okay, and Discipline and Punish, this is a book which was published in 1975, analyze the birth of modern penal system and the broader implication and disciplinary power in society, transition from public executions to disciplinary societies. Earlier societies use brutal methods, modern ones use reformative. So we think that we are reforming the prisoners, we are reforming the person, but it's still barbaric methods. Okay, then History of Sexuality, and it was a series, multi-volume series exploring power, knowledge, and discourse, and have shaped modern perception and practices of sexuality. So it is from 1976 to 1984. So these volumes are The Will to Change, then The Use of Pleasure, The Care of the Self. So it shifts from sexualities, scientica sexualis to ars erotica. Okay, sorry, maybe it's ars erotica to scientia sexualis. Okay, Foucault's ideas continue to influence and challenge the contemporary thought and providing critical tools for analyzing intersection of power, knowledge, and social practices. Then another book, Security, Territory, Population, which published from 1978 to 1979. Foucault's lecture explored the emergence of governmental technologies and strategies of power in modern societies. Then let's quickly sees the takeaways of Foucault's work challenge the traditional linear views of history and knowledge, emphasize the intricate relationship between power and knowledge, highlights the role of surveillance practice and disciplinary practice in modern societies, introduce methods like genealogy to explore historian contingencies, focus on how societal norms and practices are shaped through power dynamics, and then some additional thought, you know, that power and knowledge, archaeology of knowledge. The term archaeology in Foucault's work referred to examine history's layers of knowledge. Then uh, examples are the birth of the clinic and archaeology of medical perception, which is published in 1963. Then episteme, you know. Then another concept is heteropoia. So what is heteropoia? It shapes that it spaces that exist within societies that are different from normal spaces. They have multiple layers and can be places where different knowledge system clash. Example, libraries, museums where diverse knowledge and historical periods are intersect. So he also talk about synchronic and diachronic. So that's all. I think this is same. I will not go longer. So I hope you will like it. Foucault's theory are more difficult for me to explain. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you have any opinion, you can also share it in the comment section. Okay, thank you for giving your time.